All right, we are live.
Yay.
Welcome to the live show.
Yay!
It's pretty there.
All
Hello, is
right.
anybody out there?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can just dive right in and talk about the fabric of our souls.
I
So,
actually have it here. Oh,
before we start, I want to apologize on behalf of Jessica and I. This was our book pick, and when we went to pick it, it was on KU. Then it disappeared off of KU.
mhm.
Audio came out, and then it came back to KU. So,
I'm like
our
wondering if they did that
apologies.
because of the book, like the cover changed or something. Like I
Oh
don't know
no,
if
did
she.
the cover change though?
Yeah, on Kindle.
No.
Like when I
Yeah.
went to go check it, it changed the cover.
Maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But anyways, we had no idea. So we try and pick a KU book just to make it a little more accessible to anybody who wants to join in with us. But we also understand that authors don't always get
Yeah.
paid very well when they use KU. So
Hmm.
understandable. But if it was a cover change, then that makes
I
sense
don't know.
as well. Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't
So,
know.
hello, everyone who's joining us. So, why don't we just jump in and say what we thought? So, Jen, you ready to tell us?
I
I was actually thinking we should get index cards and write our rating down and all hold them up at the same
yes,
time.
Next
yes.
time we should do that.
Take
Next
the
time.
pressure off.
Let's do
Yeah.
that next time. Yeah, pressure. So I finished it at like 2:30 my time. I had like 20 minutes left of the audio. I will definitely recommend the audio if
Uh-oh.
anybody I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this one. I like the writing. I think the narrators did a really good job, but I'm more leaning towards a 3.5 at this point. Sorry. That's my rating.
Okay.
I'm sticking to it.
Amber?
Um, I read it.
Good.
Yay!
You're
I
on the
did
show.
it. I wanted to DNF it the first like 20%. Because of the mental health rep in it is so ridiculous. And the rehab center, which I'll get into, but so I decided 2.5 stars to be nice, I
That's
think.
nice. That's nice. 'Cause, yeah.
So yeah, because I didn't like the writing. I thought it was like Wattpad-ish, corny lines, like the lines that the
Homer.
guy says. I'm like, no guy
Homer.
talks like that. But
Okay.
anyways, so I gave it 2.5 stars, 2.5. I don't know.
Jessica?
I'm with Amber. I am so pissed at this book right now because it was
Yeah.
in my dark romance group and everybody's like, you have to read this book. It's amazing. And I'm like, all right, let's do it for our read. Oh my God. Like, I hate to badmouth. I don't want to badmouth the author. This is her
Yeah.
work. She did great. There was just so much of it that was so fantastical and like out there that you had to suspend belief. And I just two
Yeah.
and a half, and I feel like that even that's kind of a little generous.
That is, yeah. Mine. I feel like really nice with my 3.5. But I actually had to go back and was like, is this a paranormal
Yeah, I
romance?
didn't know what it wanted to be.
For
Like
sure.
that's
Yeah.
part of my problem.
Yes.
All of
Is
Yeah.
it.
like it didn't know what it wanted to be. It
Yeah.
was like bully, then the guy's a cinnamon roll and obsessed with her. Then, there's the friend, then there's the history of like people disappearing and like I was just like,
It
what
was
is
all
this?
Yeah.
right.
It was
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mandy, what did you give it?
What'd you do?
Okay, so I went back and forth between 2.5 and 3 stars, and then I kind of decided I was going to settle on 2.5 stars. But I know some people, if they do 2.5 stars, they'll go ahead and rate it a 3 on Goodreads.
Hmm.
I tend to go back, so I'm probably going to put it as a 2 on Goodreads.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's what
same
I'm gonna
thing.
do.
It's the writing itself was not like, how do I put it? Like the sentence structure was
Mm-hmm.
not bad. It was not hard to I actually listened to it. It was not hard to listen to. It didn't have like weird cutoffs in sentences or bad grammar or something that took away from it. But the author, I felt like, was writing this type of book
Mhm.
then decided, no, I'm going here. Now I'm going here. Now I'm going here. Oh, wait, I'm
Mhm.
going to go back over here. It was like way too many ideas and very different book
Yes.
styles all
Yeah.
put into one
Yeah.
Mhm.
that I couldn't really figure it out.
I was like,
Um,
the first
Yeah.
half though, first few minutes, I was okay with it.
Oh,
Like,
Joanne.
Joanne, I love you, Joanne, and
yeah.
I love you.
Like I'm almost at that too with Joanne, but I was like,
Oh, yes.
ooh, like
Yeah, and Joanne, I'm pissed too because I used a credit on audio.
Me too.
that's why
Yeah.
that's why I'm so glad I didn't use their credit
Yes.
because I almost did. And then when I was reading her like the first chapter, I was like, oh man. And then when it went to like the rehab center, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't because
Yeah, it was so outlandish. Now, when he meets her in the hospital and stuff, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I was intrigued.
I was
and then
intrigued
it just
there.
went from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
like to me, like the main issue, like I was irritated by was like, it was basically taking it as a, like unorthodox rehab center. Okay, I get what you're doing so you can do whatever at this rehab thing, but it has to be realistic. The amount of people that are like like letting them just run free will around the place when you
Mhm.
have people that literally slit their wrists and were trying to kill themselves, they shouldn't be able to lock their door from the inside. They shouldn't be having sex with other patients. Like when you even like just getting clean or sober or any rehab thing, they don't encourage you to have sex or start relationships that will help, that will ruin your. So all this stuff was just like, it was just irresponsible to me. It's like a view of like, so many people have depression and have had like suicide attempts or stuff. And it was just like romanticizing it. And then I don't know. It just, it was so unrealistic.
like,
How is he able to go outside of the room in the middle of the night, go cut himself up,
Yeah.
and then come back? You know, like
even that? Let me go get on my motorcycle and play chicken.
yeah,
and
just
ride
go to
around,
town.
go into town and just do whatever.
It's like,
I mean,
oh, it's like they're on a field trip. You know, let's let them do whatever.
But like that one time in the cornfield, they do have the one guy there, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, they're alone. Like they're encouraged to go do these things, and I'm like, that is not real.
No.
Why don't they have like better security, or like when you actually go to these rehab places, they're checking in on you constantly, like that this guy, this brother is like living under there and then doing stuff in the greenhouse, and I'm just like,
I'm like,
so like the mental health was pissing me off because also there was barely any scenes of like therapy happening, and the him being like, you're my cure. It's like, no, like that's not a cure.
Red flag.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm like,
exactly.
and then like the side friend thing, I was like, I get like, but it's like they didn't develop the characters enough to like where we cared about each of them. I actually really liked the friend, but he needed to be in it more. And like be more involved, I felt like, because then you would have like connected more to that ending, and that ending was so
Bad.
over the top. Like I don't know, I had a bad heart, but then she got shot in the heart.
Yeah,
but like she wouldn't have made it.
That is not how a heart transplant works.
No, she wouldn't have made it. Like she wouldn't have made it. They have to put her on bypass.
If he was an organ donor, first of all,
yeah,
get past that. If he was an organ donor, there is a list.
Yeah.
And how is he just happened to be a match?
Well,
yeah, and how is
that part would have been
to go somewhere though. I think you can, like, but it was fantastical.
Yes.
Well, she got. It'd be fine if she got shot somewhere else, but not in the heart, like because she would have not. She has to get on bypass. She was bleeding out. Like then I would be like, okay, her heart was like giving out because she has a bad heart and she has blood loss. That would have made sense, but she got shot in the heart, and then the other guy got shot a couple of times in the chest, and he was like fine. I don't know. It was just like.
I think that part would have been okay if everything else hadn't have been so out there. So it just kind of added on to like one more thing where you're like, oh, of course she gets his heart. Like, of course that's what happened. The other stuff was just so ridiculous. And it could have been really good if she would have probably had two separate stories going on and then focused more on him being in there. They should have had separate rooms, and then they have this like relationship where he's sneaking into her room and that sort of thing. Like it could have been developed a lot differently.
Well, and then they went from like he was kind of being a bully, like you discussed me, that you want to kill yourself, but then being all into her, and then them having like this whatever. But then we're in love, like we're randomly in love, and I'm like, when did you fall in love? Like
Mhm.
you guys have just been
Yeah.
having sex.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah.
I was really
And there's-
confused with the book, honestly. I mean, now who listens to the book?
I did.
So I was the only one that physically, like when reading it was, I think, more brutal.
See, I was gonna say
Probably.
I did both, and I had to stop reading it. I would go back to the book on Kindle if like I didn't understand something, and so I went to read it to see if I could understand it. But I had a really hard time connecting anyway. But like connecting reading it,
Yeah.
maybe narrators just helped me out a little bit, but I was just being mindless with it. But like because I couldn't understand, and then it was jumping over so much. I'm like, wait, I don't understand.
Yeah.
One is like some ghost
just-
coming back to haunt something. Like what the
Yeah.
fuck?
I think it's the way that flowed, you know, it felt like
Yeah.
a first book. I don't know if it's her first book, but it's like the whole thing of it being his brother, like, and then we were like, oh, well, why didn't we know way ahead that his brother was there like for 10 years ago? Like, it just felt weird, his whole story, because even his timeline of explaining like the accident and then a year, but I'm like, but that was like a long time ago. I don't know. It just didn't like make sense to me. I don't know.
So bad then. I honestly at one point I was like, this is paranormal. It's gonna end up being him. It's his alternate ego or something. And then I was like, wait a minute. I remember him saying he had brothers. So and then I got it, and I was like, I'm done. I'm over it. I didn't understand that whole thing either. It's like it like Mandy said, it could have been good, but enough wasn't explained, and she didn't fully develop. I feel like the story, like maybe one of those aspects could have been knocked off, and then she could have developed it a little bit better.
Yeah. With Joanne, how it was the first time, like it was so like I could have believed the ending a little bit more had the rest of the book not been so over the top. I could have forgiven that. But like Mandy said, it does. It feels like she had two different books going on. Yeah. And it reminds me a little bit of when we were interviewing Calla Reed and how she said that The Surviving Trace and Unravel were one book, because she originally had Serene in the psych ward. And then her friend said, you've got two different books here. You've got to separate it. Well, apparently this author didn't have that friend to tell her to separate it.
Friend.
So
good job on the friend.
I looked it up because I was curious. So we are not the norm, ladies. The book has 18,698 ratings with an average of 4.25.
Yeah, because I was looking at this today.
Maybe people don't read dark romance like we do, or
well, I was looking at this today, and it was like a book talk thing too, because a lot of people that were ranting, they're like, book talk lied to me again. And then there was people that were giving it 5 stars, and people were like, how does this have a 4.2 average? Is it just me? Am I not getting this? Like, some people were like, oh my God, I cried my eyes out. This is the most moving book. And I'm like,
on what? I did make you cry.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes. I saw somebody say, I thought this was going to be an MFM, and then you ripped my heart out. And I'm like,
I was like, when I saw the other friend thing, when I was reading the blurb, I'm like, maybe it's going to be an MMF or whatever. And it was not. And I'm like, oh, is it a love triangle? Like, I don't think she knew what she wanted to do with it. Like, I was like
almost going that way, but then you could see how she could,
I don't know.
I think maybe she thought she was going to go there and put like the breadcrumbs there, but I just was confused.
Yeah, I think it could have been a very, very good book if she would have just focused on maybe the healing aspect, not had all this crazy stuff happening at the facility, had it be like a normal facility. And took out some of that stuff. It could have been a very good book. Just focus on one thing. You don't have to have these side stories and these other plots that just make it insane,
outlandish. Like it's just like.
And I think people, like Jen said, I think people enjoyed it because they don't read the dark romance like we do. They don't read the amount of dark romance that we do. So
because I didn't think it was dark at all. Like I didn't think it was dark, except for like the, triggering things for if somebody has self-harmed or like those kinds of things. Yeah, that can be considered dark romance, but I'm like, this is not dark romance.
No.
But like once I got to the once I got to the shower scene, like, and that was pretty early where it's like all the people screwing in the shower and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I want to DNF this. I like had to write, I wrote like a note in my Kindle, like how pissed off I was because I think she might've like had experience with depression and all that kind of stuff. I think so if it's her story to tell, that's okay. But like, I think you need to do it responsibly for people, because a lot of people that were giving it like 1 stars or DNFing it were people that have experienced that, and they're like, this is not like, this is like, you're not at a rehab or like place to fall in love, you're there to get help. And there was like no therapy sessions, like barely, like in the group therapy, barely touched on. And I'm like, I think it would have been better if it like there's one thing in the Torment of Two that I just read of Kay Webster, and like the character,
I hear about it.
I'm not giving anything away, but one of the characters goes to therapy. Like, so
you read The Torment of Two, Mandy?
No, I haven't.
No, it hasn't come out yet.
Is that the newest one?
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow, I think. So I won't say anything.
What's the one with Jude? What's that one called?
That's the shoot. It's out of my head.
Bailey.
The shoot. I don't know. That's
my Kindle, like that I have the arcs. That's why I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Sure.
But my point being, I won't say anything, but like when a character's in therapy, I want to see their therapy.
Yeah,
I want to see it on page and that they're actively working it and not just be told like all of a sudden they're like all better to check out of this facility and like we're all good.
Yeah. And that's enough. That is enough for a book. That is enough for the plot line.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
So there's a comment on Goodreads that I agree, or a review. The person gave it 1 star, but their review just simply says, "How do I unread a book?"
I saw that one.
That is perfect.
I was like, yeah.
I feel like the author had a dark romance bingo card or checklist. And she was like, let me add in all of this. Yeah. We've got chasing around with masks in a cornfield. We've got the psycho person. We've got therapy. We've got a psych ward. Like she was just checking them all off.
Make it a little
I know somebody was like,
mystery.
Yes.
So somebody was like, what does she want? Like, it's like a slasher flick. It's like paranormal. It's like bully romance. It's, you know, like, it was like, what is this? Like with the.
I'm glad it's worked for a lot of other people, but for it to have worked for me, she needed to really take it apart and have separate books there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was too much. Way too much. Like I can think of other books that had the similar ideas that did way, way better with what they were.
Yeah. Like that Stay With Me series. I know not everybody likes it. I can't remember if that's what it's fully called, but it's like the 3 books.
Yes.
I really loved that. And it was a lot of therapy in it. They're in this place. They're actually, and they still got to get up to trouble, but by sneaking around doing things, not like, oh, the sex is part of our therapy. Like that's what's literally brought up in this. It's like, no, like, no, I couldn't get past that. I couldn't get past it. So I really liked that.
I was thinking about Dr. Drew and like when he had the celebrity rehab, that was all I could think about the whole time. Like you are not allowed to have relations. And I know that that's rehab.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to have that. Okay.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't work that way.
It just
it messes with you.
It shouldn't have been out in the open like that. It should have been more of the sneaking around and that sort of thing.
Well, they
made mentions of going to therapy. Yeah. Like you don't have to actually have on-page therapy, but like, okay, I'm like, you know, you end a scene by one character saying, "Oh crap, I'm late for group therapy," or "I have to, you know, go meet with the therapist." Something or like that.
Her yoga is her therapy, I guess. Like, because we got a yoga scene, and I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah.
So Joanne says that was one of her favorite series. That
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And the female character, it's hard, you know, when you're in her brain because so it's like not always perfect. At first, when I was in this, I was like, oh God, this is going to be depressing. I don't want to be in like the person that wants to kill themselves kind of view. But that series is so well done, has a lot of therapy in it, has a lot of like tough like stuff that it deals with. But like, because that heroine, you know, she has like really no feelings. She's cut off. She has all these issues. And the guy that, you know, she loves is like over feeling, you know, like too many emotions. But I like loved that series. So that's kind of what I was kind of comparing it to that. So it was going to fall like pretty short, I think, when comparing it.
Yeah.
But
read
like I
that
had a quote
series.
that I highlighted from this of the guy talking. No, I knew the moment I saw you, you were to be pitied. Your mind is beautiful and dangerous thing when, sick as it may be, but your soul illuminates the world around you, setting us ablaze with your inevitable anguish. Who talks like that? That's a guy that talks like that
First of all, that a guy would never talk like that.
with inevitable anguish.
No, my
It's
husband's
just like,
like, you okay? You good?
So
You
mad.
good?
we're meant to be, like, it's just, I don't know. Like some of the lines were so corny. I was just like, oh, okay.
Well, every time she had to fit in the whole fabric of our soul line, there was like 2 or 3 times that would fit in. And I was like, you
And how many times do you got to tell me she has pink hair? I got it. Tell me one time, not every,
and let
like.
me forget, because in my mind, she did not have pink hair. Thank you.
I know.
She didn't.
She probably needed to get it dyed again,
Yeah, that's what I was worried about with her roots. Like, if she's been there for a while, the roots got to be showing. How are you dyeing your hair? It's on those jaunts that they take at nighttime in their Porsches or Bentley or whatever.
Oh my God.
I mean,
so I was worried I was going to be the only one that hated this. So I'm really happy that you guys agree with me.
no, I figured this, like, the minute I got into it, I was like, I cannot be the only one that hates this. So
Okay. So let's final comments before we move on to some bookish things to talk about.
I'm just glad it's over.
Me too.
I'm glad they showed back up on KU. I really felt bad thinking people were going to actually purchase it.
Yeah.
Joanne.
Hey,
actually spend their
I
money.
used an audio credit.
Me too.
So
I'm still mad.
Sorry,
about that.
guys.
I could have used that audio credit on something else.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
So suddenly, the book I wanted didn't look so bad, did it?
No.
No.
I actually got it. It's sitting on my shelf. I want to read it.
Did that ever go on to KU?
No,
Serena Bowen doesn't really do KU. She had one book that finally went on KU, but I think it was like for the beginning of a series, to get you like into it.
She has several though that are over on Audible.
Like the Plus or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, that's where I started reading that Goodbye Paradise, I think, on Audible Plus, and it was like like they were in a cult and like leave the cult together, and I really liked that. So that's available on Audible Plus.
Hi, Jan. You didn't miss much. We all hated it. Now we're moving on.
Okay. So what is like from now to the end of the year, what is your most anticipated new release?
Ooh.
Do we want to go in a circle that I see? Or do we just want to all hop in when we think of something?
Go in a circle, I guess.
Yeah, go in a circle of what you see, I guess.
Okay, Jen.
Is that me?
Well, you go the other way. You go the other way.
Okay, I think I know it's coming out this year. I have to say the Story of Us, Xander and Avery's story, because we've been waiting on it. So it's very much anticipated. I want back in that world so bad.
Lucia Franco was posting something the other day, and it was clearly not about how she was busy writing. And I jokingly texted Jessica, and I'm like, is it okay if I comment that she should be writing?
Yes, it is.
I was like, no, I would never really do that. But come on, she's been teasing this book forever.
Forever. Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
Amber?
I guess, and I'm going to forget the full name, but Jessica will know. And that's the final one in Pab Godwin's Alaska series.
I
don't remember the full name.
I'm sitting here racking my brain, like thinking of the letters going, what is it? I cannot remember it, because that's mine too. That's
like, I can't stop thinking about those characters. I can't wait for that final book. And then obviously I have Taming 7. I still haven't read it yet. So, but that's already released, though. I don't.
That was disappointing. Well, Mandy and I are waiting for that third one to come out so that we can then read the first and second book.
Yeah.
Read them together.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that one.
Luckily, the first two came out pretty like within that month time, but like then you had to wait a few months for the final one. But
That's fine.
Jessica. Is that yours, or do you want to pick something different?
that is mine. Obviously, I'll be getting that here soon. Hopefully, Pam, start writing some more. Get back into the cave. The other one I would have to say is the next one in the Eclipse Ritual world that Kate Rivenhall is writing, and that we should have that this summer.
Blood Moon.
Thank you, Blood Moon. Blood Moon, which is the next book, and I
what type of book is it? What genre?
Taboo.
Is it?
Cold,
Sibling
like
taboo?
cold sibling
Ooh.
taboo. Have you not read the Eclipse Ritual?
No.
I haven't heard of that.
Okay, it's very short. It's very small. You can't get it. It was just banned on Amazon. You have to get it off of her Etsy shop or off of
I
Even
have seen
Books.
that. Okay.
Oh my God, you
Oh.
have to
Good.
read this book.
I've seen that. I think I messaged one of you or said something, and I was like, God, that sounds. I think I took a picture of it on my phone because I was like, I need to read this. It's everywhere. Okay, it's good.
Yes, it's very taboo because it's a brother sister thing.
Yeah.
It's we know that in this world they live in like a cult setting, and it's we know that something's happened to the world because there's other groups out there, but she hasn't expanded on the world yet because we're going into the next book, which will give us something outside of that world, and we'll get to see it a little bit more. They're not very long books. The first one isn't. So
They don't look very long. Yeah.
they're so good. So good. Yeah.
So I have lots of books coming up that I'm very excited about. So The Consequence by Ashley Jade is supposed to be coming this summer.
Finally.
The Pucking Wrong Man is coming.
Oh yeah.
So lots of stuff. Let's
Yeah.
see. Joanne says Leather and Lark. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still have to read Butcher and Blackbird. That's like this is the second
okay.
book.
Blackbird. I listened to Butcher and Blackbird. I think it was a 4 stars for me. I couldn't get into it. There was just whatever.
I bought it, so it's just sitting on my shelf, and it's one of my 12 recs from 12 friends. So I have to. So I'm thinking I'm going to read it next month.
But the audio is really good for it because the Butcher, he has an Irish accent, and the narrator does the Irish accent. And I read it around Christmas time, so we're wrapping Christmas gifts listening to it. And that made the audio for me. And there were some really
I just listened to gosh, what is it called? Hold on. It was like the third book in the Maid series, The Darkest Temptation by Daniel Laurie. And it was like, this is what I wanted with the Off Balance audiobook, because I wish that was in duet narration, because this is, and this guy does a Russian accent and speaks in Russian. And I was just like, it was so amazing. I'm like, that's what I wanted with the Off Balance audiobook. You know, like I wanted to hear Kova.
Yeah, Lucia really missed the mark on that one. She needed
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. Hi, Katie.
Jan says QB
She's
is
busy
coming
writing.
out with a new book.
She's
Chibi
busy
Tyler?
writing.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming
I
it's
kind
QB
of-
Tyler.
I haven't read her recently lately because the last couple that I read, I kind of rated poorly. Like, and so I still want to give her more of a chance. But like her recent ones, like it just felt like all sex to me.
Money.
Like, no, it's just all smut. And I was like, I don't even like that one that's the bodyguard one. I just was like, oh.
Yeah.
And like the dad's best friend
What about-
one, I just
in
early 2000s.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's true.
The House of Wax.
Or like,
Right?
what was that one, like Beastly or whatever it was? Like those
Yeah.
2000s movies.
Yes.
What is Neva Altai's newest book coming out?
Not till
Oh.
July.
I was going to say
July
is it July?
26th.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
finally
Beast.
caught up with that series. I finally read like the last one, The Darkest Sin or whatever. And it was one of my favorites. Like, I loved it.
Audience
Kai
coming
and
for
Nika, they were good. He was so sweet.
Yes.
the Burned, is it Burned? The next audiobook is about to come out, and it's the one that I haven't read because I haven't read the last two. And it's coming next month.
You're missing out. So
I wait
Beautiful
for-
Beast is going to be the spinoff.
Okay.
But she's still going to keep writing, she says, in the world she's in, but then she's also going to start the next generation.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Kill me.
Yeah.
Kill me.
Yeah.
Those characters. I need to meet Salvatore son or daughter. Like I need to meet, see what if that like as unhinged as he is.
Yeah.
And Sergei's little boy.
Sergey, yeah.
Oh, Sergey. I love
His
him.
kids.
He's so funny.
He was like
was
my
cracking me up in The Darkest Sins. Like I was laughing so hard.
Yes.
I love him.
Go on
Like, it was
her,
so good seeing him again. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I love you.
and Salvatore. If you go on her website, she's got like little illustrations, and there's one of Sergey, and I'm blanking on the chick's name. But they're up on a tank with his son in the middle, the little blonde-haired son in the middle, and it was just like, oh, that's so Sergey.
Oh, so this was the one who wanted a tank all the time? Like he always wanted to get a tank, and he finally got a tank.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorites.
it was really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What? Oh, Jan, you need to get caught up too then?
Yeah, Jan, you be with me. I gotta get caught up. Yeah.
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 So good.
But I know
I was actually sad when I got all caught up because
I know, I am too.
that's why I'm just kind of.
I used her books because I found her like last August, I think Jessica told me.
because I read her like in June and July, and I was like, you have to go read
Yeah. And so I would use her books like whenever I would get kind of like in a reading slump, I'd go back and read the next one, and then I was done.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
how do I get out of my reading slumps now?
Yeah, Joanne says her too. She's behind. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the audios because I know I have to wait a little bit longer for the audio, which I read all the other ones, but I'm waiting for the audios because I'm like, well, if I wait, then I still have like a book or two till I finish, and then I'm not done.
I thought her newer one, because she seemed like she was releasing them super fast. So I was like, oh, I want to be able to read the next one as it like comes out. So I'm like, I got to catch up. And then when I looked at like, then the next book was coming out, I'm like, oh, and now I have to wait.
Great.
She seems to go in spurts where she'll have them like come out like
Yeah.
one or two quickly behind each other, and then there'll be a longer wait.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know Grace McGinty has one coming out later this month that's fantasy paranormal. Oh, it's paranormal-ish that I'm really excited for. It's about a girl, and she's running from like the Greek gods that are somebody's after her. Like there's Greek gods. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing. She's pregnant by something.
By something.
Oh,
By
oh no,
something.
something.
And she's on the run. And like, so I'm excited for that one. We'll see.
You hear that, Mandy? Something.
Thing.
Someone.
We're going to have a gross like birth child.
I have no idea.
I'm
like a Rosemary's Baby.
It comes out at the end of the month, and she said she was going to get me an arc early. I need to message her because I haven't seen it yet. So, yeah, something.
All right. So,
good segue to the next.
a favorite trope that you have, like not a new to you type favorite trope, a trope that you haven't been reading a lot of, and then you started like, do you see what I'm saying? Like a trope that you're kind of like digging right now, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, go the opposite way.
Okay, so I'll start. Mine has been reverse age gap. Normally I love age gap.
Yeah.
And lately I've been reading a lot of reverse age gap, and I've been really enjoying that.
Those are gonna be really good.
I forgot to talk about, Jessica. Oh, we did our recording earlier today, and I read Mother's Day End by Lee Jaco or however you say her last name.
I never know how to say her name. I'm like Jaco.
Yeah. So I read that. It was so good, and it's reverse age gap, and I forgot this part. So she's older and has a kid, and he's not like young, but he's like in his mid 20s or something, and a lifeguard, let's just keep picturing this, right? But he calls her mama.
Oh,
yeah,
like Jesse Spanos from Saved by the Bell.
That's what I kept hearing
mama.
in my head.
Like Rio from Good Girls.
Like Rio.
Yes.
Rio. So that's why I read The Brawl by Devney Perry, because the audio is done by Teddy Hamilton, and he calls her mama the whole time.
Is it hot?
Oh my God, yes.
Teddy Hamilton.
She's a young mom. She's a single mom. I can see what Joanne just said.
Yes.
You're welcome, Joanne.
Thank you.
So
or like forced breeding.
Just breeding in general. I like forced breeding. I love forced breeding.
Okay, Jessica, you're up.
I don't know if this is a trope so much as a kink, but the whole breastfeeding kink has. Thank you, Daisy Jane. The lactation. Daisy Jane has got me like looking for that right now.
It's in kind of in P.S. You're Intolerable, which I liked, but like in a good way, in a natural way. In that, like,
Yeah.
where like if you look them up, they're usually like really over the top erotica stuff. But when it's done well, it's like
It's gotta
good.
be done
It's
right.
good.
So
Yeah.
Venus has the Wild One, which is the first book in her Wrench King series, and it has it in there, but it has it done in a way where you don't realize that it like it fits them. Like you're not like, oh, she's checking off the kink bingo board.
Hold on, I gotta write some of these books down. So
Wait, but how does that explain that kink? How does that work?
Well, she's a mom. She's got a baby.
Yeah.
The Wild One is also reverse age gap.
Yes, it is reverse.
oh, okay. And that's Daisy Jane. Is that who it was?
Yes.
Okay.
I just read a book by her.
It's also apparently in Raleigh too, which is another book of hers as well. And I just started, but I'm like in the first chapter. So that's one of the kinks she's known for. But we also saw it in Possession, which is BJ Alpha's newest release, which will be out on Thursday. It was in that one too.
Okay. Possession.
I want to like partake in the breastfeeding.
Yes.
You've had
Yeah,
it.
so like
a gentle introduction into it. Try
Yeah.
99% of You by Michelle Gross.
Yeah, try that one.
99.
And honestly, P.S. You're Intolerable does it so perfectly where it's like, I loved it in that one. And usually I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like sometimes I don't like it because it goes too far. But like it was just in a nice, like intimate, sweet, like when they're, making love or having sex kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jan also says breeding, and she didn't know she liked it.
Yeah, I love
didn't
it.
either until I started reading it, and I was like, "Is this a thing?"
Like I liked it in the like Belandi Brothers by Adelaide Forrest, like the first one. Like he and he like tampers with her birth control too, which is
love birth control,
but I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who's done having kids, I was like, this can't be a thing. And then I started reading, and I was like, oh my god, it's a thing. So,
yeah.
There's a real life celebrity who actually said that he threw his wife's birth control away, and he caught a lot of flack for that.
Yeah.
Let's tell us later. I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't want him to get in trouble all over again.
The video is viral.
Jen, before we continue on with our tropes around the circle, what Daisy Jane book did you read?
All My Love.
Did you like it?
She was crazy. Yeah, I did. But I was like, I started reading it and I was like, what the hell? What is going on right now? Like, bitch is unhinged. But I was like,
bitch is unhinged.
we love it when the guy is, right? So I'm like,
yeah.
But I like the way that she wove that though, because it wasn't like completely unhinged. Like she's unhinged. Like she'd be crazy, but she did it out of love. Like I don't know.
Exactly.
It was from a place of love.
It was her soulmate.
It was.
She was just getting ready for their life together.
I know your mind, so I'm gonna make that happen, and I'm gonna suck on your. Okay, good. You with the drawer full of red toothbrushes. Okay, bitch be crazy.
Oh God,
bitch be crazy. So I guess that would be one of mine. Because I've been reading a lot of Rockstar, but then I went to All My Love, and I was like, okay, so maybe I like an unhinged woman sometimes. I like the unhinged.
I loved that story.
It was just really refreshing to see a different take on a possessive person. Yeah. Person. Yeah. So.
Yeah. When I was reading that, I told myself kind of the same thing. I'm like, oh, she is like doing some really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this. And I'm like, you know what? If this was a guy, I would be like, oh, yes. And so I just decided to go with it. And I was like, oh my God, I love it.
I had the same thought process because I was like, I'm going to put this down for a second. But then I put it down and I was like, but I have to know more. Like, why do you do the things that you do? And then I really ended up liking it. So.
Okay, Joanna's also about tampering with the birth control. I'm going to get caught up in comments and then we'll go to you, Amber, for your
Okay.
Okay, Fiona Davenport writes breeding really well.
So which one, Katie, which book, like what's your favorite one of her books that you would recommend?
Oh, and they're novellas. So that's good.
Yeah, they're novellas. That's good to know.
Maybe for like
I know I need some new novellas to read, so I'm writing this down.
Me too.
Oh, I like I like Cassie Mintz.
Me
Big
too.
series. Jessica Kane can do the unhinged type of romances too.
But
Like
Jessica Kane's
Yes.
not writing anymore, right? She quit.
no, maybe she'll come back. Maybe.
Maybe.
I hope so.
No.
I like her too.
Yeah.
Okay, Amber.
Okay. I mentioned it earlier with P.S. You're Intolerable, but mine is like pregnant, but not with his baby. Like there's something that I really love about like the guy, like, and I want the baby to be in the story, not like they have the baby at the end, like where he's taking care of her, he's taking care of her during her pregnancy. There's some good pregnancy sex, and then he's like doting on this child that's like not his. There's something about that like kills me, and so I've been trying to find like I'm like searching for more books with that because like I love it. Like, and P.S. You're Intolerable was like one of my favorite reads last year, so I was like, okay, I just kept looking now. So if anybody knows any of those, let me know.
The Wild One by Daisy Jane. She's already had the baby, but the baby's pretty young.
He's like,
oh, okay, cool. So
under
I'm definitely got to read this one then.
8 months old, I think.
well, she's still breastfeeding. 6 months, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It starts off so incredibly good because she comes into where he's a mechanic and he's struggling with life a little bit, and so he's drinking, and there's a reason, but he's handling it through like going out late and drinking. And so he's at the counter and she comes in and she's trying to talk to him and he's trying to keep from throwing up. And so he tells her to please be quiet. And she's like, what? And he's like, no, just calm down.
And she was like, and then he,
And then
he
he
goes and
hurls
throws
in
up.
the garbage can.
But you're in his head, right?
Yeah.
So you
you
And then
know,
with
like
another breastfeeding.
he's not trying to be rude. Like his head is pounding. He's trying not to throw up when he says this to her, but you could just hear the words like as like he would be saying them to her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But the best part about that one is he, like, because she's kind of like an Uber driver. They call it something different. But once he realizes his mistake and then he wants to get to know her, he hires her to drive him around. But the baby is in the back seat with him, and so he falls in love with the baby, and that was for me.
Yeah.
Like he fell.
See,
in love
that's
with
what
this
I
baby.
love about those is like they like love that baby and they're like step up and
that is
just
my baby. Yeah.
So he kind of like fell in love with the baby before he really fell in love with her. Aww.
A little,
so
yeah.
cute.
It's so good. The audio is great for it too. There is audio. So
Katie says Go Deeply by Fiona Davenport.
I wrote that one.
Okay.
Yep.
I did. I wrote it down. Thank you, Katie.
Book 4 in the Nighthawk series.
Nighthawk series.
Okay.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Katie.
Just add another book to the ever.
Oh wait, what was that book called that you were talking about that you have to buy on the Etsy shop? What's that book called? The when they
Kate
Eclipse
Rivenhall.
Ritual.
Ritual.
Eclipse
Oh, the curse or a course?
Eclipse Ritual.
You
Okay,
can get it off
Eclipse.
Eden Books too if you want just the.
But if you
Oh,
go
okay.
if you go to Etsy and look up Kate Rivenhall, that's she has it on Etsy now that it's been taken off of now that it was banned. So she has it on there where you can do the instant download or get a physical copy.
So sick of them banning books.
Me too.
Like, seriously, stop.
Me too.
We're still gonna go get them.
Read it. Who gives a shit? Like obviously there's a market for it, but if you don't want to read it, why is it hurting you?
Shut up and move on. Dude.
Yeah, just don't read it.
She has a second pen name, which is Kate Raven. And I read The Catcher by Kate Raven this week. And it is a dark baseball bully romance. It says he grovels. He barely grovels. But it is so good. He is an asshole. The whole book, he does horrible things to her. And she just has to suck it up and take it. And I love it.
True bully romance.
It is a true bully romance. Like the grovel is so small, you're like, did I see it? I don't know if I saw it there or not. So
I like a good bully, like a true bully.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is what that is. It's under 200 pages. So that one is on Amazon.
What's that one called?
That one's called The Catcher by Kate Raven.
The Catcher.
Okay, Megan has quite a few
that are coming up. Okay.
Yeah, I read Stay With Me, but I loved the book, but I was disappointed because I thought the pregnancy was going to come a lot sooner than it did.
Yeah.
So I loved the book. I rated it according to how I loved it, but I was expecting
We
it to be a little
Promise.
different.
Where We Promise.
Okay, so these are all fathering of the baby. So it's We Promise. Oh, Where We Promise, and then Heartbreak Handoff. Why do I need more on my TBR than I already
We
have?
don't, but we'll take them. Thank you.
Yeah, Where We
Lex Martin
Promise.
always, she has like that football players series where they
Mhm.
can't, they have very unfortunate luck with keeping it wrapped up, apparently.
Apparently
like-
so.
Like
Condoms do
every
not
player
work for
on the
them,
team ends
apparently.
up with a kid.
They have like the one defective mega load box from Costco, apparently.
And
Yeah, it
see,
is on
that series, that Lex Martin series, is one where you kind of have to just be like, okay, like a normal college football team is not going to end up with all of these guys having kids.
Having
But you,
babies.
what is it called? Varsity Fathers, I think. But
something
you
like
just go with it, and you just go
Yeah.
with each story. And I was told, like, I enjoy her writing. I've never marked her down because too many of the guys have gotten pregnant. You can just go with it.
Yeah.
But it's like one little thing that you have to just kind of be like, I'm going with it.
Right.
Where Fabric of Our Souls, there was just too many things that we were being asked to go with, and that
Yeah.
didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Base some of it in reality.
Yeah. So Jan said Bully is hard for her, but it is on Kindle. So yes, the Kate Raven book is on Kindle.
Yeah.
The Catcher.
Cool.
And it's short. But hot.
Yeah, and I like Bully, so and I needed
like-
more Bully romances because I want to do another Bully video.
Yeah.
But
I think about the one, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's the one by BB Reed. So BB Reed did a
Fear
Bully.
Me, Love Me.
Fear Me, Love Me.
oh yeah, I read those.
I like those. And the same thing too with the Sam Mariano book. But you get halfway through the book and the bully softens and he's not so, where in this book he really doesn't.
Yeah, it's not he's not changing his whole character. Like sometimes they do that and it's like, well, no, there's a reason he was like that.
Like, do you still like him though?
Yeah. I did.
Because
I mean,
what?
But part of that too is if you go to Goodreads and you go to The Catcher, it's one of the first I don't know where else you'd find it, but one of the very first reviews, like the 5-star review of it, there's a couple lower ones and then you get to the 5-star, has a little chapter that is from Tanner's point of view, because the whole book is from the female's point of view. And so this one it's like chapter 10 and a half, and you can just download it instantly from it's free on Book Funnel, and you just read it and it puts you into his head. And I did that. I found it like when I was like on chapter 12, so I went back and read it, and that is when I was like, oh, okay, so it's not that he hates her. He just doesn't, he can't control his assholeness.
It's just who he is.
Just who he is.
So I like Bully in some cases, but like S Mastery, I liked Brutal Obsession and Devious Obsession, but I hated Secret Obsession. Because
I still need to read that series. I need to read it.
He was just, you might like it, Amber, because I know you really like Bully. But that particular one was just, he was too much for me. I'm like, I don't understand why he likes her or why she likes him at all. I just couldn't relate.
Let's be honest, in everyday life, if my husband treated me like that, I'd be crying in a corner all the time. But it works for me in the book. Yeah. Jeff just tries to tease me and I'm like crying, are you serious? You know. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. A recent 5-star read.
What have I read?
I'm like, what did I just read this last week?
Like,
Okay, I can start. I just did the arc for The Summer I Destroyed You by Elizabeth O'Rourke. Loved it.
Did you?
I really enjoyed the summer series. I know we did
I didn't like the second one. The first one I loved.
We were all over the place.
The one we did on that one was the one that I used credit for, and I was mad that I used credit for. I was like,
The Summer I
no.
Destroyed You. It's like a little enemies to lovers, slow burn. So good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loved it.
I had had 3 5-stars this last week, but my favorite one out of the 3 5-stars that I had was The Wild Man by Alex Grayson. It was just released this week, and it is.
Oh, I just heard about that.
Yeah, it's a
I want to
Tarzan
get it.
retelling, and Tarzan retellings are hard. Like they're not always the greatest. This was friggin' hot. I loved it. Definitely check triggers. There's some stuff in it at the very beginning that's just check your triggers. But
Yeah, I just saw Jen talk about it on her weekly wrap up, and so I was like, I have to get it. Like,
yeah, it is so friggin' good. I was like, is it over? I don't want it to be over. I need more. I need more. So, yeah, definitely dark though.
Okay, Jan says funny story by Emily Henry, and that Emily Henry can do no wrong. I enjoyed
I've never
Happy
read
Place,
her.
but I have not. That's the only book by her I've read.
Yeah, I haven't read her.
Okay, going in my circle, Amber, you're next.
Oh, okay. I guess what I'm gonna say is The Darkest Temptation by Daniel Laurie. I read that. I really enjoyed it. It was a little crazy and bonkers, but it's like the heroine was like really naive, like 19 turning 20, and didn't realize her dad was like part of the like Russian mafia, and she goes out to Russia and then like basically drops in the lap of his enemy, and then he captures her.
And that was the third one, right?
Yeah, I really liked it. I think why I gave it 5 stars is the audiobook, because it was so good. Like, it's so worth it. Like, with the Russian, speaking Russian.
Yes.
The female narrator was good too, because she had to speak Russian. She did like French, and it was just like it was really, I loved the narration. So I think that's why it was like a 5 star for me.
Yeah.
Joanne says Exodus and the Finish Line.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've read those too, right, Amber? No. Oh, I saw.
No.
Wait,
which one is Exodus? Is that in the Flock thing, or?
Yes.
I haven't read that series. I haven't read it yet.
I think that this is what prompted us to talk about how we needed to do a convincing combined thing, because there were some like that.
Yeah.
We need to figure out how that can work and try and make that happen this summer.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Jen, do you have yours?
I think I gave a 5-star to All My Love, if I'm thinking, from J.D. Jane. I liked that relationship with her and the child too. Just really.
Yes.
I just really ended
so
up.
You just read that one then, like pretty recently?
Yeah, I mean, I read it this month, I believe. I've had a bit, I haven't had too much reading, but yeah, no, I did. I read it this month, and it was like my favorite so far this month.
Yeah, okay. I love that relationship she had with Bear, and how even though she's super unhinged and did very questionable things, that relationship was completely sacred to her, and she would not do anything to try and manipulate Hudson with that relationship.
I think that's when I started to love her and started to realize like she was unhinged, but there was a reason, like a reason for her madness. So yeah.
So are you going to continue on with the series when the next books come out?
I do want to see, because I was telling my husband, I was like, they say like we're not killers, but like you just let that man go. I gotta know what's going on with her sisters, because they intrigue me.
Yes. So I'm going to try and find the graphic so I say the right thing about it, but she's teased what's going to happen in
the next book, or both of them.
Ooh, maybe it's in her newsletter. Okay, I'm going to go try and pull it up. Okay, let's see. Megan's last 5-star read, Locked Hearts.
I don't know that I read anything by Jill Smith.
Me neither.
I don't think I have either.
I don't think I have either. Ooh,
yeah.
Megan.
Wrote it down.
Okay, and then Katie's was The One I Left Behind by Piper Rain.
I haven't read Piper Rain either.
I don't know if I have or not. I think I'm getting confused because January Rain has the same last name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Could Piper Rain and January Rain be the same person?
I don't think so. Is
Spelling?
there a Piper Rain and then P Rain too? Because I thought like they're the same. Maybe they're the same person. One does dark romance.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
A lot of
Like,
authors have that, more than one.
Like Brooke Montgomery. Is that her married name? Because we also have Brooke Cumberland. Is it like a different pseudonym, or is that like her married name? I see. Yeah, I would like talking
So
about
I
she
it.
think
wrote
I don't
with
think
somebody
Cumberland was.
else
Yeah,
for a
she has to
while.
write with a duo or whatever, and
Oh,
then
yeah. I do remember that, and that was
So
with Brooke Cumberland and whoever
Yeah.
else. Yeah,
I think Brooke Montgomery is like her solo.
yeah. Okay, maybe
Okay.
that's it.
I could be wrong on that though. Okay, I found the Daisy Jane thing. So on what is it? It's July 19th. Yours truly comes out, which is the one where it's going to be with the tattoo artist.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the one coming in October, which is called Eternally Devoted, says it has a female main character serial killer.
Yes,
Hmm.
I knew it. I knew it because I was like,
Yeah.
you got so pissed off because he said something wrong to you, and then you brought him home to make him apologize, and then he walked back to his car. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I've been
Yeah.
interested in that one little like paragraph that was in All My Love. Like I was like, nah, I think somebody's a killer. Okay.
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right. Alana
Very
Myers right
intrigued.
there. Yeah. That one's in October.
Yes.
That's the perfect October book. Hint,
Yeah.
hint.
Oh, Katie says
Write
Piper
that down.
Rain
That's your month.
is a
Oh, the
duet
month?
and
Okay.
they pen under P Rain for dark romance.
Yeah, because I always see the P Rain like for ARC requests, and it's like more dark, books or whatever
Oh,
that
yeah.
I've seen.
T.L. Smith is the one. That's why the name sounds familiar. And I have read one of her duets.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
That's why I was like, why does this sound familiar? But I don't think I've read anything by her. But I have. She's the next Mystic Box person.
Megan, some of us won't know that because we're still on the wait list.
I'm like, yeah, I'm
Well,
never gonna
I
get
mean,
on that.
it's been how long, Mandy?
I filled out, I'm so frustrated by this, but I can't exactly argue with them. I don't know what happened, but I filled out last January, so like 2023. I filled out to be in Bell Book Box, or actually it was maybe December. I filled out to be in Bell Book Box and Mystic Box at the same time. I got accepted into Bell in February. And then Jessica's like, you need to email them and find out what your number is. So I emailed them in July and asked what my number was. And they gave me a number. And I'm like, this makes no sense because people who are saying they just signed up in April and May have like their numbers is like significantly less than my number. So I messaged again and I'm like, I'm so sorry, just like trying to figure this out. And they're like, oh, we have you only filling out the form like, and it was like a week before I emailed them in July. And I'm like, well, that's weird because I like did it at the same time as I did Bell Book Box. And like, as you can see, I've been getting Bell since February. And she's like, oh, that's what we have for you. I'm like, oh my gosh. So now I'm in like,
They lost it, and then when you message them, they're like, oh.
I don't know what happened. I really don't. Like that's what it kind of felt like is like did I actually like what happened? Did you somehow get me mixed up? I mean, I can't really question it. I just don't know what happened. I'm like, did I forget and fill it out a second time and that bumped me out the first time? I feel like I would have remembered doing that, but who knows like what happened? But now I'm at like 32,000 and they're starting to go through the numbers of where I think I would have been if I would have
Oh
gotten
man.
there when I thought I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So I probably have a good year plus of waiting before I get in.
Yeah.
And it's irritating because so many people are like, oh, I just sell my boxes to somebody else so I don't get off the
Yeah.
list and somebody else just pays for them and takes them. I'm like, well,
Yeah,
if
well,
you
where
don't.
you see that where they sell them all like up on like Mercari and stuff, where you'll see like, and then they basically, I'm like, that's why those people are getting those, and then they just upsell them on
Crazy amount.
Mercari.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, maybe there's really nothing they can do about it, but people actually like brag about it all the time in
Yeah.
the Facebook groups that this is what they do.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And then
When we
somebody
would
else.
just like them for ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and somebody else was like, "Oh, this sucks. I just got in, but I can't afford it." And all these people are commenting and saying, "Oh, well, just go ahead and find somebody else in the group that wants to take it, and they just pay for it, and it goes to them until you can pay for it."
Which makes no sense.
I'm like,
Absolutely no
"What?
sense.
Mm-mm.
It's
Come
just
on!"
ridiculous. I've had it. So when I signed up for Mystic, it was Christmas time, but it was before all of this madness. Like you could just sign up and get the next box, and they didn't have a wait list. So I've had them. It was literally the box after Birthday Girl. Like I just missed Birthday Girl by a month.
Oh, I could have
Yeah.
been Mandy's Christmas present.
Yeah,
I love her,
Jessica
but
would have
no, I would
kept
have kept
it.
that one.
It was beautiful. It was.
It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah.
But
So
I have a feeling like if they don't start to get their like act together a little bit, people are gonna start leaving because Belle and Mystic both they're so far behind on like you're paying for books and like we're still due books that were supposed to come at the beginning of the year that haven't
Oh,
made
my
it.
really?
my Tilly Cole
Wow.
book, the Hades, the two and the next two in the Hades Hangman that we're supposed to get. I just got a letter. So they were something happened. So they were behind the other Tilly Cole that came. So these were just add-on boxes. We were supposed to get them months ago. And I just got an email stating that a shipment was damaged and my books were in that shipment. So I have to wait for it to be printed again and shipped again. And they use the slow boat, not the fast boat. So it takes a crazy amount of time. Like it's going to take another 3 or 4 months before I get them, and it's already behind. But they're not the worst. There was another one that I was looking at that was, I think it's cover to cover. I don't know if it's cover to cover. There's another book box out there, and they're almost a year behind in shipping. And they're a monthly book box. They ship every single month.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's not worth the. I mean, like, yeah, you're
No.
getting something awesome, but like, I want it now. I don't think I should have
I don't want to
Yeah.
wait a month. I don't want to wait a year. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
ordered some stuff from them at Christmas.
Yeah, and then you're paying a bunch of months and you still haven't got your books, so you're not getting
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, I
Right.
ordered an add-on. It was probably from the scratch and dent sale or something because I don't have a thing with them anymore. Like back in December, and I'm still waiting for it. And it wasn't the monthly thing; it was an add-on. It's not.
Which should be fine because you clearly have them.
Yeah.
It's a event that's in your warehouse.
You should have had it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Birthday Girl.
Joanne, like I've seen these on like
is
I'll go, who's
insane.
gonna buy this book? Like who's gonna buy
Yes.
something for like $1,500 and they'll be like sold and I'm like, oh my God. Like
Mhm. Yeah, there's some out there. There's a specific series that I was looking at that I already have that has been,
mhm.
and it's thousands of dollars.
No.
Yeah,
we
sometimes you'll
I
find
was-
really good ones. Like I found this one, that's just like the fabled one for like I think like $30, like $40. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I'll only pay for that if it's like something that I can afford. Because I can't afford to do like the boxes. Like, and I always was thinking about, oh, maybe I'll do the wait list for Mystic Box, but I'm like, that's probably gonna take forever. And now hearing about Mandy, I'm like, I don't know. And I wish, do you have to get it every month you get whatever book they do, or do you get to pick like to opt
You can
out for some
skip
months?
once a
Mm.
year.
Oh,
Yeah.
only once a year.
Yeah, and it's
So
every
it's-
other month is what it's supposed to be, but I haven't
Yeah.
gotten the Mystic box in many months.
I was
Yeah.
actually just talking to Jessica that I think I am doing Belle right now and Dark and Quirky, and I was going to cancel Dark and Quirky, and then I forgot and they charged me, so I'm getting the next one. But then I think I'm going to leave all of the book boxes, and whenever I get called to Mystic, I can decide if I still feel the same way. But I was thinking about leaving the 2 and just using that money for when we go to like book signings and when authors have special editions pop up.
Yeah.
Because I think I'd rather pick and choose because I have some really cool ones on my shelf, but I also have some ones that I could really care less about. And
Yeah.
so what am I like? I can try and resell them, but that's,
That's kind of why I never did it, because I'm like, some of them you'll see it, you're like, oh, I have no interest in those. But then
Yeah.
like you're paying the money and you like, I wouldn't even care
Yeah.
about those ones. So I'm like, I wish they had it where it's like you could just buy, like you pay a subscription and then like pick which month you actually want to get like the books or something. I don't know. I had a subscription to like a cheap one, but it was people like, it was always authors that I didn't even know who they were.
Mhm.
So I like kind of opted out of it. I was like, I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah.
Like,
especially because special editions, like I know everybody's different, but for special editions, I would not read those. Those would specifically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
Yeah, they're
sitting
for my
there
display.
looking
So
pretty.
even if it's a new to me author, I'm not popping that spine. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
I have a shelf and it's out in my living room. It is my special edition shelf, and that is where all of my Mystic boxes are. Books are out on that shelf, and you are not to touch that shelf ever. Ever.
Yeah.
Like that is where my ST Abbey is out there, my Haunting Adelaide, which they're still redoing those covers. So they're sitting up there getting ready to ship back because at some point we're supposed to get the covers. They're supposed to replace these covers because there was a problem with the covers. It's a thing.
Yeah, they've had a few mistakes lately too.
A lot of mistakes lately where they didn't.
Yeah, I remember that thing with the Haunting Adeline because they actually like did a thing on Instagram and like apologized because it was like somebody like AI like art or something that they did, and so they actually apologized and were like, we're resending these out to you, but I guess they still haven't.
Well, we're still waiting for them to be shipped to them, and then once that happens, those of us who opted to get the new cover, which I opted for a new cover. I haven't seen it, but this one has skulls all over it, and it looked very generic to me. It looked like somebody just did it, and I was like, okay. So I opted to get it. So then once that gets here, then they're supposed to send us the thing. We have to ship it back, and so it's just sitting on my shelf, just waiting to get shipped back.
That's frustrating.
And like that was like in January.
Yeah,
that was longer than January.
Yeah,
I feel like that was a long time ago.
I feel like it was too.
I could be wrong though,
but like even the new ones we just got, it wasn't Lilith Vincent, it was the other ones we just got, somebody else, I can't remember who it is, but there was a problem with one of the two books. The two books came and one of them had a typo or something in the back, and so we had to ship back the first one. I have the second one, but not the first one, so wait for that one too.
It's really frustrating. That's really frustrating.
I get that things happen. I get that, especially when you're like, with them, they were already in production. They'd already had their company. So when we hit 2020 and paper shortages started to happen and these things kind of happened, they were already they were already producing books. They couldn't just stop and say, we're going to take a couple of months. We're going to get these books printed and then have them in our warehouse and then start shipping out, so that there was like a little bit of a lapse, so you didn't have to wait. Like I understand that. But at the same time, at some point you need to say, you know what, we're going to take a break for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. We're going to pre-order.
They just did.
They took 1 month out, which was too much.
They just took a break because they needed to try and get some stuff figured out. I think they had another book with a typo. And then they said they were just going to
they need to take a 4-month break or something. 6 months, get caught up.
Yeah, I understand that you're not bringing an income at that point, but if you are pre-ordering these books to get them shipped out, like if you're like just have them ready to go, then you'll make that money back.
Right.
All right. We are over 2:00. We went over Pacific time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jen.
We
are past our hour.
Do we want to do our news real quick?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is the next Buddy Read is going to be on my channel, but we're actually going to be taking a summer hiatus because it's just a little crazy over the summer with teen kids and everything going on. So we will be coming back on my channel in September. So, and I don't have any idea what the book will be. We'll see where we are when we get to that time, but
Amber's
we'll figure it out.
A book that we're all going to love.
Yeah,
Amber, no pressure.
And hopefully, if we can, we'll do maybe some collabs or something this summer. But right now, our weekends are insane. So doing a live show is hard. So but we're gonna miss doing our live shows.
Yes.
So we will definitely be back in September. So have a great summer, everyone.
Have a great summer, everybody. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.